Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm happy to have you. So my previous subscribers, welcome back to the channel. So for today's video in particular, we're going to be talking about and discussing JD Vance, or Vice President JD Vance, or Couch, IKEA, Sephora, whatever you want to call him. We're going to talk about his unfortunate series of events. Based on where he goes, things happen. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at the series of unfortunate events of JD Vance. So that's what we're going to talk about in today's video. Now you're probably wondering, Chris, what are you even talking about? Well, apparently, when JD Vance broke the national championship trophy, then he visited a Pope who died the next day. Then he visited India and a terrorist attack happened, and a war broke out. And then he endorsed his brother for mayor, who lost from 83 to 11% in terms of the popular vote in Cincinnati, Illinois. Or is that Ohio? No idea. But anyway, besides the point, that is the whole idea what we're going to be talking about in today's video, is the series of unfortunate events of JD Vance. I think it's going to be an interesting concept to explore and find out, is JD Vance, wherever JD Vance goes, is there something happened, or is it just a mere coincidence, or it just happened to be wrong place, wrong time? So that's what we're going to find out in today's video. I figured it would be a good idea topic, and Spirit was like, Chris, you gotta do this video. And this is the name, and do it. I was like, okay, fine, we'll do it. And so this video is being recorded on Wednesday, May 7th at 11:38 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, as and when I am recording this specific video. If you want to help out this channel grow, you can do so by liking, commenting, subscribing, and the bell icon, engaging with the content, watching this video longer than normal, or sharing this video with other people really help the channel grow tremendously. So thank you for all you guys who have been actually doing just that. I love you and I appreciate you. And so with all of your help and for the donations and everything like that, we were able to get a brand new Mac for the YouTube channel. So thank you all of you guys for making that possible. Right now we're not using it because we're having some issues trying to do the migration from this computer over to the next Mac computer. So it's going to take some time before you start to see the real new effect of your donation live here on YouTube. But let's go ahead, let's begin. I'm not here to waste your time. I will say though, if you guys have not yet watched already, we talked about Happy Death Day, which is a video that I just recorded, I think 2 days ago. Yeah, 2 days ago I recorded. Highly recommend you go watch it. A lot of you guys seem to really like that content video. Highly recommend you go and do it. I do have some exciting news. After I finish recording this video, I do have an updated one, and it's called A New Dawn. So it's going to be really interesting to see. I think a lot of you guys are going to be really excited. You're going to love it and stuff like that. But anyway, let's go ahead. Let's begin. Let's start with JD Vance. Let's talk about that first. Okay, so Spirit Angels, tell me about JD Vance and a series of unfortunate events. What is the best way that we can start off? Okay, they're telling me to start off with the butterfly deck. So, if you guys don't know, this is the butterfly deck, and it's for Life Changes Oracle cards by Doreen Virtue. Okay, if I can even open this. Not exactly the strongest. Oh, well, yeah, this is true. It's like, for some of us, get some rest and memories. Like, go out, create some memories for yourself, and also get some rest. I know this is also Spirit specifically talking to me because I've been very exhausted to the point where I'm unable to get up on time to start recording videos, but that's a whole nother situation for a whole nother time that I won't bother you with. Alright, so Spirit Angels, tell me about JD Vance and a series of unfortunate events. Now this video is just for entertainment purposes only and for educational purposes only as well. If you want to donate to the channel, which I want to make sure you guys all know and aware, I do not force you, I do not ask you to donate, but if you want to, because a lot of you guys have been asking for months to include a donation link, I have included in the link in the description below. Alright, and if you want to follow my Blue Sky account on my Facebook group so you can be notified when I do post and upload, you can go into the comment section and the description to do just that. Alright, so for some of you guys, I feel like a lot of you guys are like, you want to go in retirement, but it's not working out for you. It feels like in some way you guys have to go back into the workforce, and it has to do with the color pink, which represents your crown, which means you understand the nature of things and you understand what's happening. It's not what you wanted, which you understand it. I'm also getting as well is to ensure that you have a proper foundation. I feel like some of you guys are struggling with a home. So, what's it called? That also comes through as well. Like a lot of you guys are you're in retirement in order to keep your home. I don't know why this is coming out of personal reading as well, but I guess maybe some of you guys needed to hear that. Alright, so Spirit Angel, tell me about J.D. Vance and a series of unfortunate events. Tell me about J.D. Vance and a series of unfortunate events of J.D. Vance. Okay, we love how we finally get some cards for him. J.D. Vance and a series of unfortunate events. That's literally the name that they told me to say it. So I love when they play with the words here. Alright, so this is interesting. So we're talking about in this video the series of unfortunate events and coincidences and things happening wherever and whenever J.D. Vance goes somewhere. Now the first card that comes in is we have the reverse, an end of an era. It's reverse. It's the beginning of one, right? It's the beginning of an era. Very interesting concept, very interesting idea, if you will. The next card that comes in as well, because it's really interesting how it both ties in together. You see the same wing pattern on the outer realm. It's also the same wing pattern when it's fully extended, which means leaving, right? Not leaving, not going anywhere, right? Staying stationary. But it's interesting because if you look at this butterfly here, the butterfly wings are essentially almost opening but have not yet opened. This one is fully embraced, fully open. But both of them at the same time were reversed. What does this mean? It essentially means that what's it called? It's not an end of an era, it's the beginning of one. But at the same time, you're not leaving, you're starting, right? So again, it's indicating to us that there's a beginning of a cycle. There's something here that's beginning. And here you have sentimental feeling, which is the monarch butterfly. Now, if you guys all don't know, monarch butterflies are going extinct. Within the past 25 years, they found that the monarch butterfly population dropped by 20%. That's a big drop, and they're almost extinct. Here, the sentimental feeling is talking about how you connect to something, how you emotionally actively involved and engaged in certain things, right? That is what the sentimental is. It's talking about all of those aspects. So this has to be an emotional thing, beginning of an emotional beginning. We have here as well in reverse, we have graciously aging, right? Fast pace. Maturity is moving in an opposite direction. I mean, gracefully aging, you're maturing, but you're maturing in a rate that does not age you well, one that does not make you look well or appear well, right? That is how it's appearing for J.D. Vance. On the top of the deck, though, we have here spiritual growth. So there is something here that is changing for J.D. Vance. There's something here that's changing, and it has to do with spiritual growth and sentimental feelings. I mean, there's an emotional complex here. There's an emotional complex that ties him into something emotionally that happened, and he's emotionally involved in something. So that's interesting. So let's go ahead and let's take a look and find out what exactly is he involved in and why is he emotionally tied to something. I think the best way for us to really find this out, if you guys are new here, welcome. I know a lot of you guys have joined from that video, so hello. And this color here means major arcana, while the white color means minor arcana. So that's essentially how it works. And if you guys have any word suggestions you want me to include on index cards, let me know in the comments section below and I will include them if I don't have them already. Alright, so Spirit Angel, tell me about J.D. Vance and his series of unfortunate events, and what is his sentimental tie? What is he emotionally growing from? What is he changing emotionally? What is changing for J.D. Vance? What is beginning? Now this is going to be important because this could affect us as a nation, as a globe. So we're going to find out in today's video. Okay, what is emotionally making J.D. Vance involved in something? What is that? I'm clear audience, so they're telling me like what cards to pick. Okay, and then they're telling me to take this one. Alright, so let's take a look. Let's find out what is being said. The first card that comes in is what is beginning for him. What is he moving with forward? What is he moving ahead with? We have here non-white, so black. So it's not non-white, it's black. Wait, hold on. If non-white, that means white. So something is white here. Something is white. The next card is we have what is leaving but isn't leaving. What is beginning for him? What is he walking towards? And what is he emotionally involved in? We have fake. Something is fake that is emotionally taking a turmoil for him. And he's walking towards that. He's coming to that realization, which means that the red color card here, which represents your root chakra, your crown, which means you understand certain things, or it means that you have your foundation, which means I am, right? I am white. I am. Maybe this is white supremacist thought. Maybe this is white supremacy. It could be energy that's symbolizing purity, or saying like I am energetically a good person. Could be something as simple as that. We do have here them walking towards something, and it has to do with emotional involvement in some way, and it has to do with the yellow card, which indicates the word fake, which means your solar plexus, which indicates I do. You do something with an action. I begin to do something because I'm emotionally involved in something. That's what he says here. He's emotionally involved in something. What is he emotionally involved with? We have here the Northern Lights. It's reversed. He's not in. He's not involved with the what's it called? The Northern Lights. He's involved with the Southern Lights. I don't know if that's a thing in the South, but it does feel like in some way, in some form, there is a southern portion of it. So it's not exactly what you would expect. So what is it telling us here? But no, necessarily he is not of the north. He's of the south. So this is saying here in terms of energetic reading, it's saying that here that his energy is darker, but he's trying to become pure, but he's becoming pure in a different way. And here the next card is, which means blue, which means I speak, aqua, which means wicked. So it's interesting because Wicked is a very interesting story, because if you have not watched the movie Wicked, Wicked is a very beautiful story. The moral of the story is that Alphaba, which is the witch, was kind of portrayed and framed by the wizard to have done all these evil things, when him, in retrospect, used Alphaba to do evil things, and Alphaba did not understand it, while also the wizard being the fascist, right? The wizard is the fascist. And this aspect here is also indicating to me that there is a separation here between 45 and Vance, which is very interesting, because it talks about here is what does he realize? What is he speaking? He's speaking that he feels like there is a separation between him and that fascist ideology. There is that separation here. He does not want people to be involved in that authoritarian type of understanding. So what does this mean? Like when we go into a little bit deeper note, we have here non-white, which means white, which is fake, the northern lights, which means the southern lights, and wicked. What does he speak? So going back to the whole thing again, because the reason why we're going to keep going back is because there's a lot of information here to unpack. But we have here I am white, I do, because I am fake, and therefore I'm moving towards that. And because I'm moving towards it, I'm not going to the north to see the light. I'm going to the south to see the light. And because of that, I speak wicked. Now, this could mean two things. It could be as literal. It could be saying here that I am white, and right. It could be like white supremacist energy, right? It says I do, right, and I say these things, and I believe in them because I'm not of the north. I'm of the south. I'm the darker energy, and because of that, I speak evil things. Could be something as simple as that. It's really based on your interpretation, but I'm going to allow the energy of the universe to allow us to tell us over time what this means, which means eventually we're going to have to do part 2 to help us figure out what this means. Now, if you want to be able to give your own interpretation of this, including the description below, I'll be really curious to see what you have to say. But let's go ahead and let's begin, and let's start using this tarot deck, which I have not used on a channel for quite some time, probably for about over 4 years. This is Wisdom of the Hidden Realms. This will help us understand who J.D. Vance is at the core. So Spirit Angel, tell me about the series of unfortunate events of J.D. Vance. This will help us decode these messages a little bit more. Okay. Northern Lights reverse. And Wicked. Northern Lights reverse. Thank you. Okay, let's go ahead. Let's take a look. Let's find out what is being talked about in terms of J.D. Vance. So now the next card that we have here is the non-white, which means white, which is purity, energy, right? And so as you start to really look at the card underneath it, we have the Eagle King, right? It's interesting because when there's a president, he is known as the Eagle according to the Secret Service, right? But he is not the Eagle King. He's reversed. He is the vice president, right? the big picture angelic help. It's reversed. It's saying here the number 12 in reverse, which is telling us here non-white. He's doing things behind the scenes that is not very much in line with the president himself. It tells me already there is a clear separation between what he wants from the presidency compared to what Trump wants from the presidency. So that is what the Eagle King is reversed, is that there is a clear separation of that energy. What's also interesting as well, because we have the Lady of Lightning, which means surprises, sometimes shock, total paradigm shift. Right? This is interesting because this comes in as well. It comes in as that energy of purity. It's not the end of an era, it's the beginning of one. Right? It's that energy of something is going to surprise us, and it has to do with the energy shifting. And we talked about this many times here on YouTube, where things starting to shift, and we're going to get into a period of surprises. So definitely, in some way, expect J.D. Vance to not always be on the side of 45, but not necessarily be on the side of the American people, but will be on the side of his own agenda. Underneath here, we do have the word fake, which means I do, and I'm walking towards that. I'm walking towards being fake, and I do think that is fake, and it has to do tie with my emotional intelligence. And underneath this is represented as the Metal King, which is reversed, which represents discipline, armor, and boundary, right? Discipline, armor, and boundaries. Not knowing where you stand or where you lie in certain things. And the fact that it also is very symbolic that it represents the maroon card, the dark red color, which means I am. I am someone who is not disciplined, someone who is chaotic, who has no boundaries, right? That is who J.D. Vance is at the core. That is what he's walking towards. So expect more chaotic energy. Expect him to no longer act like a vice presidential type of individual, but rather to go against the norms. Underneath here, the Northern Lights, which is followed by the sentimental feeling. What is his emotional complex? We have the Swan Queen, which represents transformation, intuition, and patience, which is very interesting because that was the card that was headed in the past direction. I mean, this is something that's ending the same way that the Lady of Lightning is also in that same direction here, with this side represents the past, while this side represents the future. So that is what it's telling me here, is that he is transitioning. He already went through his dark night of the soul. Now he's starting to get into who he really is and what he's meant to be, which means that J.D. Vance is following his soul purpose in some way. Underneath the Northern Lights reverse, we have here the arrow master, which means hitting the mark, intention, and detachment. He's not hitting the mark, right? He has no intention. He has no detachment, right? He is very much attached. And it makes sense because he's talking about his emotional understanding of certain things, that he's emotionally involved in something and it's dictating his action to what he does. And his intention in particular is not one of purity, which we understand here, because remember he said white energy. He comes in and said an end of an era, beginning of non-white energy, which is reversed, which says white energy. What's he's telling you here that that is not true is fake. So he's going to give the energy of him being a pure person, a good-hearted person, when really, retrospect, it's not true. Now, the next card is, what is he communicating effectively to the people? We have here the wicked energy, which is represented by his blue color, which represents the throat chakra, which is the sacred union, which means partnership and romance, which is in some way indicating to all of us what is he doing. He is not being the best version of himself. He is not the best version. He is essentially separating himself. And then I told you earlier that it feels very much like he and 45 are separating in terms of friendship and alliance and understanding of how they view the presidency. It's very much represented here. Now the bottom of the deck here as well, we have Gaia's garden, which means fruition, abundance, reaping what you sow, right? Now what asking the whole question is the J.D. Vance series of unfortunate events, right? That's the whole purpose of today's video. Well, this is really telling you here that he is reaping what he has sowed. He's reaping what his energy is. His energy is fake, and therefore he's reaping darkness, which is the wicked card. The top of the deck here as well as we have the well washer, which is the only card that seems to be upright for him. So in this aspect, he's represented very much through this card, will represent wisdom, power of the divine. Remember when I told you very much so that he is following his soul purpose, he is following what he had agreed to when he came here on planet Earth. And what has he agreed to? Well, let's take a look. The Diamond Dreamer. which represents a maternal wealth and true prosperity. Well, so far he has not yet gained in terms of financial abundance, because yes, he is rich and he is wealthy, that's without a doubt. But everybody needs to understand that sometimes wealth does not always come from money. It could come from experiences. It can come from a memory. It can come from emotion. It can come from spending time with your loved ones or family, or having actually a true love individual, or, getting to where you want to go, or seeing yourself happy. This does not necessarily mean financial success. It might just indicate some other success, or one that is lacking, avoiding you. That will be where you find your great success. Now, going into a series of unfortunate events, let's go ahead and let's take a look at the United States and see what kind of effect JD Vance has on the US. And then I think that we'll end today's video using that. I don't think I see anything else. If anything, I'll probably just use this deck as the final deck, just to kind of get a little bit more information, because this is a little bit of a coincidence. Like I said, JD Vance has a series of unfortunate events. Alright, so Spirit Angel talking about JD Vance on a series of unfortunate events of him being vice president and things happening wherever he goes. Can you tell me a little bit more about JD Vance and the series of unfortunate events occurring around him? Could be a coincidence, it could be accidental, could it be wrong place, wrong time? Can you tell me all about this? The card that represents the question is the Five of Cups, right? You have 4 cups empty, and you're taking your last shot, right? Taking your last shot. So this is what the energy is. There's a shot here that he's trying to do. Taking your last aim at something, right? Taking your last aim. What is he trying to take his last aim at? He's trying to take his last aim around 45, which is represented by Trump. So the Knight of Wands reverse, he's trying to take his last shot at Trump. So this feels very much so that JD Vance is not on the side of 45, which is not a surprise. This has been very continuous with the energy that we've gotten in the past. So if you want to watch those videos in regards to JD Vance and JD Vance not being on the side of 45, I will put the link to all those videos in the description below and at the end of the video. I think a lot of you guys are worth wanting to watch it, especially Agent. What was his name? I had a name for him. Could he had like the name Agent in it? Let me see if I can find it. Just so you guys know, because I think this is the video that you guys are all going to want to watch. Okay, Agent. It means Ancient IKEA. So, highly recommend you go and watch this video. I'll put it in the description below. But I highly recommend you will go ahead and watch that video. Alright, so let's continue. Let's go forward. We do have here the next card that comes in. If you have the Knight of Cups, which is again last week tonight. The Knight of Cups, and what's in the background, we have Trump Tower controlling the media, and the media, this guy, who this individual is, I think it's Stephen Colbert, I believe, if I'm correct. But it's interesting because it means here that he's trying to take his last shot at 45, which means that, again, it's indicating to us there's a problem between 45, the vice president, and the president of the United States. And here you have the Knight of Cups, means there's some information, some sort of breaking news, and here you have the lack of strength, or the strength or oppressor. So there's some sort of oppression here that's coming in. Because we have here taking the last shot, which is dark thoughts, which could be indicating dark thoughts, right? Dark energy, taking your last shot, right? This is the beginning of something, the beginning of something. Here you have as well not leaving, going ahead with a plan, which means going to try to take down 45. I guess really essentially what he's trying to say is that Vance wants to become the new Trump. He wants to be the version of Trump that Trump could accomplish. He wants to be that so badly. But what is so fake about all that is that I actually start to move into this energy. He's not someone who's on 45's side, but rather against him, working against 45. And here you have the Knight of Cups. The Knight of Cups is breaking news, some sort of news report, and it has to do with the emotion. He wants something so badly. Remember, it keeps showing up in the reading time and time again. And here you have the Northern Lights in reverse, which tells us this is of the darker realm, the Southern Lights. And this is represented oppression, oppressing something. Maybe it means taking that energy and pushing it down so that it doesn't come to the forefront. But that doesn't mean that you don't want it. It just means that you haven't acknowledged it, or you don't want to acknowledge it yet, or you're not ready to acknowledge it. The next card that comes in is the Moon card, which means, again, like I said, something being hidden. And what is that thing that's hidden? We have here the Hangman reverse. It's the energy, Tate University, which means education. It means the mind. So what is he hiding? He's hiding a knowledge in his mind about something. And it's his thoughts, a wicked thought. What is that wicked thought? We have resistance. So he's very much, like I said, is against the fascist regime, but that does not mean that he is pro the American people. It just means that he does not support 45 in its entirety. Instead, he wants to replace him with himself. And that's the whole understanding. That's the whole idea. Unfortunately, it doesn't really tell us more so about the series of unfortunate events, but it's telling us the energy and the mindset and the concept of J.D. Vance and what he thinks and how he's thinking right at this very point in time is manifesting into the physical, causing issues like none other than, let's talk about it right now, talking about issues like breaking the national championship trophy, then visiting the Pope and who died the next day, or visiting India and a terrorist attack happened the day that he arrived, and then a war broke out between Pakistan and India, and then endorsing his brother for mayor who lost 83 to 11% in terms of popular vote in either Cincinnati or somewhere in Illinois or Ohio. But the moral of the story is that wherever J.D. Vance touches or goes, he has some sort of effect, and that is manifested through his energy and his wants and desires. Emotionally, it's pushing it out towards the physical, and it's starting to cause issues publicly. So start to expect the more this energy becomes more emotionally involved, you're going to start to see some of these issues start to really ramp up. So keep an eye out for some of these coincidences going forward with the series of unfortunate events for J.D. Vance. I think a lot of you guys are really going to understand it more deeply, but also really it really gives us a point as well to understand like what you think up here is what you manifest into your physical realm. So I want you to also be very careful with what you're thinking up here so you don't manifest that into the physical. That is really the takeaway here. So if you guys want to take away from something, you can learn from J.D. Vance, because J.D. Vance is essentially manifesting something into the physical. We're not yet that we're aware of, but it feels like in some way if you were to do anything, it could possibly lead to the possible death of 45. So that is also an idea that is being contemplated, what I have spoken about in the past, and I did get that energy, didn't mention it, but I did get that energy, didn't know if I should say that or not, but I am going to say just for recording purposes. Again, this video is being recorded on none other than Wednesday, May 7th, at 12:04 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as to when I am ending this video. Thank you for watching. Hope you guys liked today's video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. I'll see you all next time. Until then, peace out. I love you.